Construction sites are inherently dangerous places, we all know that, but one often overlooked danger is fire. With flammable materials everywhere, sparks from welding and temporary electrical systems, the risk is very real. A fire on a construction site can be devastating. It can lead to injuries, loss of life, and millions of dollars in damage. That's why OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, has strict fire protection and prevention regulations for construction. These rules are there to save lives and protect property. In this essay, we're going to break down these regulations into plain English. We'll look at what you need to know to stay safe and compliant on the job site. The first step in fire safety is prevention. A good fire prevention program is the foundation of a safe job site. It starts with regular inspections. Walk the site and look for potential hazards like flammable materials stored improperly or faulty electrical wiring. Next up, make sure everyone knows how to handle flammable materials safely. We'll talk more about this in the next section. Equally important are emergency procedures. Everyone on the site should know what to do in case of a fire. This includes knowing the evacuation routes and how to use fire extinguishers. Finally, regular training is key. Make sure everyone on your crew knows the fire safety rules and procedures. A well-trained workforce is the best defense against fire hazards. Flammable materials are everywhere on a construction site. Think paints, solvents, fuels, adhesives, the list goes on. Handling these materials safely is crucial to preventing fires. First and foremost, store flammables properly. They should be kept in designated areas away from heat sources and ignition points. Use approved containers and make sure they're clearly labeled. When you're done using flammables, dispose of them properly according to local regulations. Don't just toss them in the dumpster. And remember, even a small spill can create a fire hazard. Clean up spills immediately and make sure the area is well ventilated. Key fire prevention requirements. A fire prevention program must be implemented throughout all phases of construction. Only approved containers and portable tanks can be used for storing and handling flammable combustible liquids. Storage areas must be kept free from accumulation of unnecessary combustible materials. No smoking signs must be posted in areas where flammable combustible materials are stored or used. Equipment and access requirements. A fire extinguisher rated not less than 2A must be provided for every 3,000 square feet of protected building area. Travel distance to any fire extinguisher must not exceed 100 feet. At least one fire extinguisher must be located adjacent to stairways on multi-story construction sites. Access to all firefighting equipment must be maintained at all times. Fire extinguishers must be inspected periodically and maintained in operating condition. Specific area requirements. Temporary buildings where workers are housed must have at least 2 means of escape. Storage of flammable liquids must be in approved safety containers. Indoor storage areas for flammable, combustible materials must have mechanical or natural ventilation. At least one fire extinguisher rated 20. BC must be located within 50 feet of where more than 5 gallons of flammable combustible liquids are stored, where flammable gases are stored or used, and where LP gas is used. Emergency planning. Emergency phone numbers must be posted in conspicuous locations. Workers must be trained on fire hazards and prevention measures. An alarm system must be established to alert workers in case of fire. Regular fire prevention inspections must be conducted. Fire extinguishers are your first line of defense against a small fire. But knowing how to use one correctly is critical. OSHA requires construction sites to have properly charged fire extinguishers readily accessible. Make sure they are the right type for the potential fire hazards on your site. You've probably heard of the PASS method. It stands for pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the lever, and sweep the nozzle from side to side. Remember, only attempt to extinguish a fire if it's small and you've been trained to use an extinguisher. If in doubt, evacuate the area and call the fire department. Section 5. Emergency planning. Knowing what to do when every second counts. In an emergency, every second counts. That's why having a solid emergency plan is crucial. This plan should include evacuation routes, assembly points, and procedures for accounting for everyone after an evacuation. Post-emergency phone numbers, including the fire department, in easily visible locations. Make sure alarm systems are working correctly, and everyone on site knows what the alarm sounds like. Conduct regular fire drills to practice the evacuation plan and ensure everyone knows what to do in a real emergency. Section 6. Hot work safety, preventing sparks from igniting disaster. Hot work, such as welding, cutting, and grinding, is a major cause of fires on construction sites. These activities generate sparks and heat that can easily ignite flammable materials. The key to hot work safety is to control the hazards. Establish designated hot work areas that are clear of flammable materials or have them properly protected. Always have a fire watch present during hot work activities. The fire watch's job is to monitor for any signs of fire and be ready to act immediately. Keep fire extinguishers and other fire suppression equipment readily available in hot work areas. Section 7. Real-world compliance examples of OSHA fire safety in action. Let's look at some real-world examples of how these regulations translate to safer construction sites. Imagine a large construction project where welding is taking place. The site manager has designated a specific area for hot work, ensuring it is free of flammable materials. A fire watch is stationed nearby, equipped with a fire extinguisher and trained to use it. Another example is the safe handling of flammable paints and solvents. These materials are stored in a well-ventilated, fire-resistant storage container, clearly labeled with hazard warnings. Workers are trained on the proper handling and disposal procedures, minimizing the risk of accidental fires. Section 8. Conclusion: Fire safety, a shared responsibility. Fire safety is not just about following rules, it's about creating a culture of safety on construction sites. Every worker plays a role. By understanding and following OSHA's fire protection and prevention requirements, we can prevent tragedies and protect the livelihoods of those working in the construction industry. Remember, a safe job site is a productive job site. Let's work together to keep our construction sites fire-free.